Any other questions? Raph?
And how you decide where to put your music in, like when to start playing the music and like where to stop playing the music?
Okay, obviously, yeah, that was a big problem. Sometimes you couldn't hear him. Yeah, it was. I mean, it's hard because I don't have this system, the sound system, so I couldn't tell if you guys could hear it or not. But I would play the music like when they weren't talking, or I would like try to lower it, but sometimes it just went wrong. So, Lance.
What were like your thought processes of like having the viewpoint of them just talking about like the football year in review, other than like just going in the day of the life of football?
Like my thought process, like making a film, or
Like, how did you come to the conclusion of having them just talk about like the football year in review, other than having like following them throughout the day?
well, I mean, the point of the film was just to elaborate on like how the seniors actually changed the program, like since they came. So I asked questions based on like certain events that like WJ, like Mount Union, stuff like that, like to events that changed the program. Any other questions? Raph?
Can you explain, like, some people might not know because I guess they don't know behind the scenes. Was it like, when you was doing the interview, was it just like one shot, clean, or did you have to do several shots and cut it basically everything?
You mean like if we had any bloopers and stuff?
Yeah.
Nah, it was not that many bloopers. It was just like one shot because, I mean, they knew what they were talking about. It wasn't really like a laughing matter, so.
Can you talk about some of the difficulties you've had? Because you guys are players. So how do you shoot all this when games and practices are going on and that kind of thing? Because I would imagine, and we've done it here at this school before, sometimes when you direct and you can't find any actors, you just say, oh, heck, you cast yourself in the movie. And that's hard when you're in front of the camera and behind the camera. Can you talk about the difficulties of being players who are also making the movie?
Yeah, we had a short window to like get the camera and start filming and stuff. And even players, because sometimes players had like appointments with the athletic trainer, or they had class or practice and stuff like that. So we couldn't film when we wanted to. So we had to do a lot of stuff last minute. And yeah, that's basically how we filmed the documentary.
Francois, how did you work that? It didn't work.
As well for me as it did. I can speak, bro.
The mic not here.
Over by the microphone.
Got you. All right. It was kind of difficult because you weren't able to find people because they usually had stuff to do. People had busy schedules throughout the season. They got grades to keep up with and their bodies to treat with the training, like he said. And it was real frustrating, but after the season is when we really got most of our footage done. So.
Any other questions?
So we are into our third movie now, and it's called Looks Get in the Way, but obviously not for us. Thanks, Browns. Okay, so it's a romantic comedy starring, I'm sorry if I chop up your name, Elias Stebbins, is that right? Elias Stebbins, thank you. And Taylor Furco in the lead role as a woman on a blind date wearing a mask. Literally a mask, not like figuratively. This film was produced by Carly Grady, directed by Nick Metz, and edited by Ben Gavlik. So, welcome the members of MG Squared.
Hi, so we did the film Looks Get in the Way, and we started out the movie, and the movie's about people that are, two people that go on a date. One has a mask on, and one that does not. And when they go on a date, he wants her to take off the mask, but she's scared to show her true colors, I guess you would say. So here goes our film. Anything?
No, we just had a lot of fun making the movie, a lot of difficult times, but here it is. Hope you guys like it.
So you're not gonna run off on me?
This is Sydney. In case you haven't noticed, she wears a mask.
Well, from what I can see, your eyes are quite nice.
This is Phil. He's a bit awkward, but he's always wanted a woman of mystery. And this is their waiter. He's really into Phil.
You do have some nice eyes.
Coming this fall, we meet the girl behind the mask. And this awkward dude.
I have to admit, I'm a little curious. Why would you wear a mask to dinner?
It's my way of getting rid of the losers, you know? I just really want to find a guy who likes what I'm really like and doesn't let my looks get in the way.
Tell me about it.
A movie that shows finding love can be awkward, especially with Phil.
Well, good luck with that, champ.
See? It's already working. You called me champ. I'm basically your boyfriend.
MG Squared presents Looks Get in the Way, coming in fall 2015. Be there or be squared.
The flowers are very nice.
I'm pretty sure you hate them. I saw the way you looked at them.
I think I'm at the wrong table.
Who are you looking for, honey?
Sydney?
Oh, that's me.
You're Sydney?
I'm Sydney.
Is this a joke?
Are you Tony? You're late. I thought you'd be here at 5.
I gotta go. I'm just here to tell you that Tony can't make it.
See you later, loser.
Hi, Sydney. I'm Phil, and I'm early. I'm glad you're early too. Well, sort of. I was hoping to get to beat you and get used to the room. I get nervous in new places. I brought you flowers.
They're lovely.
So what's with the mask?
Does it scare you?
Not really. It's just a bit weird.
So you're not gonna run off on me?
I have to admit, I'm a little curious. Why would you wear a mask to dinner?
It's my way of getting rid of the losers, you know? I just really want to find a guy who likes what I'm really like and doesn't let my looks get in the way.
Tell me about it.
You're not ugly.
I'm not?
Take off your glasses again. You have very nice eyes.
Really? You do too.
But you can barely see my eyes through this mask.
From what I can see, your eyes are quite nice.
Stop that. No physical stuff now.
But you said my eyes, and well, your eyes are, well, pretty.
No.
But
Stop it!
can't I?
Nah, fam.
Okay.
Are you hungry?
You do have some nice eyes.
Well,
The flowers are very nice.
I'm pretty sure you hate them. I saw the way you looked at them.
I'm sorry. Well, for one, they're dead. And secondly, and more importantly, bring me something I can eat. Flowers are okay, I guess, but I can't eat them. Chocolate was the obvious choice.
You're right. My B. Yo.
What are you doing?
Well, from your flower lecture, it's obvious that the nice guy act isn't going to please you. So the gangster look is my backup plan.
Well, good luck with that, champ.
See? It's already working. You called me champ. I'm basically your boyfriend.
Yeah, no, I call all guys champ.
Oh.
Yep.
So, what else happens on these dates? I mean, you seem to have it all planned out with the mask and all. It's like a test or something. There was this one episode of Star Trek.
I like Star Trek.
Really?
Live long and prosper.
So, this is one of those Trekkie tests? What's next?
Dinner?
Challenge accepted, I suppose.
You're doing pretty well so far.
What do you have?
It's a secret.
Why can't you just tell me?
Well, my choice is very unusual, if that makes any sense.
I didn't see anything too unusual on the menu.
My usual isn't on the menu.
Oh. That can either be a good thing or a bad thing, I guess.
Don't worry, it hasn't killed anyone. Yet.
Would to my funeral if it does.
Of course. I'd even make a speech and talk about how brave you were for trying my unusual usual food.
Wow, that's deep. Just be sure to keep our waiter away from my funeral, please. Oh, and wear the mask as well. I'm sure my family and friends will love it.
I love my usual.
I'll have what she's having.
I think our waiter wishes he were on this date instead of me.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way, doesn't it?
Well, who could blame him? You seem like you could have a little romantic side to you.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, you brought me flowers, which is romantic even though they're dead. And we have this whole restaurant to ourselves other than our third wheeling waiter, which makes it look like you rented out the place just for the date. It's kind of cute.
Wow! So my plan worked out after all. Minus the creepy waiter part, I had nothing to do with that, I swear.
Yeah, sure. But anyway, back to my usual food. You don't even know what it is.
Yeah, well, you seem to know what you're doing with the mask, so I guess I can trust your choice of food.
You should.
If by some chance I survive this date, maybe I should wear a mask too. I get so nervous.
You're doing pretty well so far.
Must be the mask. It's helping me for some reason. I guess it lightens the mood in an odd sort of way. But it also makes me curious as to what's the secret of the girl behind the mask.
Oh, there is no secret. I already told you before. I don't want my looks to get in the way. I want to be liked for who I am and not just because of how I look.
No, you don't have to explain again. I get it. And I'm fine with that. It's just a little different than what I'm used to. But different is perfect.
I would smile at you, but my mask is covering me. So just imagine me smiling.
I am, and you have a lovely smile. A hot dog?
A hot dog.
I actually love hot dogs.
Yeah, they're pretty unusual. You don't really know what's in the meat.
Yup.
Yep. Wanna see me without my mask?
I don't know. Maybe. I guess. Oh, this is a test too, isn't it? Oh man.
Don't be nervous. I'm not this scary looking for real.
Okay.
I'm kind of ugly, but nothing like this.
Ugly?
Don't worry, I don't have a huge nose or weird teeth or a huge mole on my face. I'm just not very good looking.
I don't mind. I'm no William Shatner.
Are you sure? I think our waiter seems to think otherwise.
I'm sure I'm not William Shatner. And let's not bring that up anymore. I'd rather pretend like nothing happened.
Okay, fine, it's already gone. But anyways, are you sure about the mask?
I'm sure. I already know you have beautiful eyes.
Stop that.
Jeez, I still can't compliment you?
No!
You don't have to take off the mask. It's okay.
I want to. You're really nice, and you deserve to see my real face. You've passed the test.
You're beautiful.
No.
You are. Really.
Stop.
Why? You don't have anything to hide.
You want another hot dog?
Sure. But it's gonna have to be quick. My mom is waiting for me in the minivan. Well, that's quite unfortunate.
I don't need a mask. You do have some nice eyes.
Hi, Mom.
Hey Mom, yeah, you just got me back.
Are you recording?
Yeah.
Guys, this is what a serial killer looks like.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap.
That was perfect.
Wow.
Nick,
Oh, good job! You're destined to play the gay guy.
Exactly.
You're the best.
Thanks for watching our production. Does anyone have any questions? Carlo?
I got two questions for Nick. One, can we all see the walk? And two, what motivated you in your scenes?
What motivated me was them because I really, I was nervous to do it, but they just kept saying you'll be okay to do it. So, I mean, that's what motivated me.
Zach?
What was the first one? Can you walk? Can you see the walk?
Zach, did you have a question?
Nick, I have a question, Nick.
What?
How difficult was it for you to memorize the lines?
Actually, tell you the truth, it was pretty difficult. I was nervous, so, it was pretty difficult. Yeah. Lance?
How many takes did that scene take?
10.
No, it really did take like 10 because we all couldn't stop laughing.
What was the hardest part about making this movie?
I think we all would agree that the hardest part about making this movie was trying to work with everyone's schedules because we all were playing sports at the time. It's just really hard, even with actors who are so active in theater. It was really hard to pick days for filming, and sometimes we had to reschedule because everyone couldn't be there. So I'd say just time management and getting each other together to do filming was actually the hardest part of this production.
What was the casting process like, trying to cast those two?
Well, I'm friends with Taylor Furco, so right when we knew we had a important female character, I chose her to, I texted her and she said she'd be in it, and then for Elias, we held auditions, and then because of Carly's connections, we were able to get him to play that part.
Who wrote the script?
DM Larson, she has a website that has a bunch of free scripts, so we looked at the website and from there we chose that script because we felt like we could produce it.
And we did some tweaking to the script to make it funny. Like in the scenes, there wasn't supposed to be a gay waiter, but I felt Nick could play the part, so I casted him as our gay waiter.
Nick, do you see yourself acting in the future?
No. Not at all.
Oh, really? We have one more wink.
The wink. Do the wink. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, perfect.
Hey, Nick, can you talk about, you and I discussed this role a little bit and how it would be viewed, and I wanted to compliment you because you're one of the few that I've seen at Bethany that's willing to take some risks, and especially with the character that you did. And I wanted to compliment you because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes in a student setting, not just here but anywhere, people don't want to take risks. They want to be the cool guy. They don't want to be the role you play. So I wanted to give you a compliment and say, nice job.
Thank you.
And I also say you're perfect for the role. You look like a lumberjack. You played it well.
All
Any
right.
other questions?
Yeah, can I give him my Best Actors Award?
He did pretty good.
That was a serious, that was
He might try to pick up the typical man.
He can take it. Nick, I'm not interested, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was.
All right. Anything else? No? All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Hi, everyone. Before we go any farther, I had some people request me to make some special recognitions. I know we're gathered here tonight to look at most of the movies that take place in the COM 218 class, but they are just a part of what goes on with BCTV. And I think it's important to recognize some other productions that have been going on this semester that are not necessarily a part of COM 218 because it's important to spread the wealth. One of the shows I wanted to recognize was Dr. Larry Grimes finally got an opportunity to sit down with our BCTV cameras and tell some ghost stories. And are Raph and Dion here? I want to recognize, stand up, please. Raphael McGee and Dion Williams recorded that show as part of their 393 class, and it turned into something very special that's already being requested to be put on as soon as possible. And that's one of the shows. I'd also like to recognize anybody here that worked Luke Hart's play a couple of months ago, Naked Emperors. Is any of the crew here? If you are, please stand up. We don't get a lot of opportunities to record plays because of their copyright and trademarks. And when Luke wrote one for the theater here, we wanted to make sure we turned it into a broadcast. And it will be on in the spring, I assure you. It's still being edited. But congratulations, Bailey. Thank you so much. It was a Sunday morning that everybody had to get up. It was the only time we could do the play, but we did get it done. I'd also like to congratulate anybody who worked the 2015 winter concert that Pandal put on. I believe that was Tyler Castle and Lamont Whiteside. Lamont is actually behind the camera, so maybe we can capture it from that camera. They went out and recorded the concert because originally that night it was supposed to be a live broadcast on the BBN, And as it turned out, no one made a connection that it takes a special type of plug to plug in the TV truck. And when they moved the concert from Commencement Hall to Renner 2, we couldn't use the TV truck. So Lamont Whiteside and Tyler Castle went out as part of a one-camera shoot, recorded the entire event, and now they're editing it together to put on BCTV. So nice job to the both of you. I also wanted to congratulate Amber Angelo as well, because she, in this very room a couple of months ago, did a one-camera shoot for a conversation with the director of the new Bigfoot movie, Jared Shaw, who was here to speak. And she did a great job. She put it together, and it'll air as well in the spring. Congratulations to Amber. Another show that is last but not least that I certainly have to recognize is the Bison Roundup. That is a weekly sports show that Mr. Carlo Guadagnino and A.J. Bertel put together every Monday. And I'd like to welcome anybody else who works on that show to please stand with Carlo and get recognized at this time. That's all part of a show, and that's not even counting the sports that goes on here with BCTV. We record just in the last few weeks, we've done all the home football games. We've done basketball games. We did volleyball games all the way through and including the playoffs as far as we could go. So congratulations to any of the sports crew that are here that worked any of those. Could you please stand this time and get recognized? Anybody, announcers, camera, technical directors, Ian, Bailey, Lexi, the game day crew, Giuliano, anybody that's still at Rich, nice job. These guys around the room, the ones that are here, go out week in and week out, and they do these things by getting up at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning to do a 1 o'clock football game or a 1 o'clock broadcast. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand about television. When the game kicks off at 1, we don't show up at 1. We're there at 9 o'clock in the morning setting up cameras, audio equipment. Some of it doesn't work. We have to deal with problems. And that's really what this night is about, dealing with problems. It's called applied learning. And I'm so proud of everybody in this room doing such a wonderful job. They're not Oscar worthy, but they are getting done, and I couldn't be more happier. Carlo. Who woke up? Who's waking up at 7 o'clock?
Well, we had most of us that are going to these shoots. It's a walk across campus. Ain't nobody gonna take 4 hours.
Oh, it's a walk? It's a simple walk?
I'm sorry. Generally we do a game day show, and Carlo shows up at halftime.
Talent doesn't show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad you're being fair and honest. Talent shows up at halftime, but the rest of us, from the technical directors and the camera people, generally are there in the morning. So, all right?
We show up 3 hours early and you tell us, no, it rained, we can't, my camera 3 get wet.
That's true. That is true. We can't ruin the equipment. So, all right, so I wanted to do a small recognition at this time just because I thought it was appropriate to recognize some other shows that we've done on campus that we just don't have a chance to recognize in a setting like this. So congratulations to everybody involved with all of those shows. You've done a wonderful job. All right, let's continue with the show. Ladies, come on up.
Okay, so this next documentary that we have is something that us three know a lot about and we've been part of. It's behind the scenes of BCTV Sports. This next documentary is behind the scenes look at BCTV Sports and how everything is put together and who's involved. And it's more just to what you see at home. It's a lot of backstage stuff. So the people behind it, directed by Kelly Farella, edited by Spencer Patterson, and production manager Rachel Whitman, and produced by Rich Egbatsi. So let's welcome the members of Blue Line up to the stage.
Check. All right, folks. I'll be short and sweet. I'm really happy to be here. I've been enjoying everybody's movies thus far. I'd like to introduce ourselves just so you know who's who. I'm Kelly Farella, and I directed this movie.
I'm Spencer. I'd edited it. I'm Richard Ogbots, and I produced it.
I'm Rachel Whitman, and I was the production manager.
Okay, What kind of inspired me to do this, right before Com 218 even started, I was involved with BCTV. I actually just jumped on board to it and just realized how much fun it was to actually work for them. And once it came down to choosing a topic for the movie, I figured, why not do it on something that I'm already involved with, something I already have my foot in the door with. And it turned out to be a great production. We put a lot of time and love into it, and I hope you enjoy the show. Thank you.
People say to me, oh, doesn't it take like 2 hours to do a 2-hour movie? And they couldn't be more further from the truth.
Where's this go? This actually goes up top to the announcement.
It is a lot of work to do to be part of BCTV.
How is that possible? What did I miss on Homecoming when I wasn't here?
It usually takes us about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what troubles we have.
All right, Devin, we got a little nod here for you.
You're going to be able to maneuver around things that are on the field and the setup that they have. You have to make sure you're connected to the truck and have a picture and have audio.
Sometimes you might plug in something wrong. Sometimes a wire somehow gets damaged, goes short. Sometimes it's just you don't have enough wire fed to you. Battery dies, power box isn't working, audio isn't working.
Good group of people, but at the end of the day, mass chaos. 100%. I think that's the best way to describe it.
How long does it take to set up? All the malfunction, it probably takes like 2.5 hours to get everything like absolutely perfectly set up.
Keep pulling some slack down. Don't take it on the field. And when you pull enough slack, then walk. You got plenty. Double back. So which one do you need? My hand. What is this? Where's this go? Down into the IFB cable that goes to the truck. You ready?
I'm trying to shut down. I mean, it's one thing. Last year we had
You tell me. Have Kyle say something now. Anything else, guys? All right, we're out of here. Nice job. Right? How long does it take to set up? 5-10 minutes. I'm sorry, I can't say that with a straight face. So I'm going to tell you the truth, okay? A lot of people think that like my dad is big on this. He thinks there's a magic box that sits on his table at home. And a lot of people think this too. And this magic box just kind of spews out magic and a big bouquet full of special effects. And that's television that you kind of, and it's done. And television is not done that way. It involves a lot of planning, a lot of paperwork, a lot of stuff that doesn't even cover television production. And the list is ongoing. You know, people say to me,
oh, doesn't it take like 2 hours to do a 2-hour movie? And they couldn't be more further from the truth. It takes hours, days, weeks, depending on what the project you're going to do for television. For example, and it's all different. You could show up at a football game. Now, a football game goes on at what, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. A lot of people say, oh, how hard is it just to show up and just slap a camera up there? Yeah, I'll just slap a camera up there. The camera weighs, I don't know, 30 pounds. You got a tripod that weighs more than the camera. You got to carry it all up to the top of a stadium. I mean, up steps, up a straight ladder, up on a big perch like the bow of the Titanic, you know, and you're looking way out over top of it. How long is it just to take a slap a camera up there? You just can't slap a camera up there. It's impossible. It takes a long time. And then even when you slap the camera up there, then you have to pull all the cable up there to connect it to the television truck. And that's just the video part. Audio can take even longer, you know, when you get hums in the microphones or mics that just don't magically work. That's part of every television production. It's not just Bethany, it's not just BCTV, that's every television station.
My name is Tyler Castle, and right now I'm the technical director for BCTV.
My name is Katie Malone, and I'm the equipment director and technical director for BCTV.
Okay, my name is Alexis Naples, and my role in BCTV is broadcasting and doing like camera work and stuff.
My name is Lamont Whiteside, and my job description is camera 3.
My name is Dakota Kotzel. I have a couple roles at BCTV. The biggest role I have done is play-by-play of sports, mainly football.
My name is Carlo Guadagnino, and I guess my role would be the host of Game Day and Bison Roundup.
When it comes to choosing my role, I didn't really get to choose my role. It was kind of placed in my lap, but at the same time, I enjoy every second of it.
I chose the role that I'm in because I want to do this when I grow up. I really want to be behind the scenes and do all the fun stuff that's behind the scenes of TV shows and stuff like that. So this is my start to get there.
Why did I choose the role that I'm in? I always wanted to do something with TV ever since I was little. I was always like, oh, I want to be on TV, and I would always tell my mom that, and she's always like, well, when things got serious, I actually was like, what should I major in? Like, this is actually like my life now. She's like, I definitely think you should go into communications, and right then and there, I was like, I want to be a broadcaster, and I'm happy because it's something I've always wanted to do, and I haven't changed my major since I've been here, like most college students, so it's something I've always wanted to do, and hopefully I can continue doing.
Man, I chose camera 3 because I wanted to be a part of the action, and I feel like in the truck I wouldn't get to have the experience of kind of being in whatever we're recording or doing. But being camera 3, it's like a front row seat to everything, so I get to get a good sight of whatever's going on, and it's just like with that camera so close, it's like I'm a part of what's going on even though I'm not.
I chose the role for what I am in BCTV as play-by-play for one. I've been a big sports fan my entire life. Anyone who knows me on this campus knows I'm a giant Cleveland Indians fan. I love baseball. I grew up watching Steelers. I grew up watching the Cleveland Cavaliers as well. And I've always I said, what do I want to do? I want to do something with sports in my life. I'm like, but I'm not very good at sports. Like, I'm not going to the NFL. I'm not going to Major League Baseball. I'm not going to the NBA. So I'm like, I always listen to commentators. I'm like, why not do commentating? And I kind of did when I was younger, played around doing with video games. Like I would be playing, like say I was playing like MLB The Show. I would actually mute it and call it the game myself, and I think I did well. And then when I came here, I just wanted to do play-by-play, and I also did do camera and other things. I also want to have my a repertoire, your resume, whatever you want to call it, more open, just to get my foot into the door eventually in the future.
Why did I choose the role that I'm in? I mean, I was on radio, and I wanted to branch out of that, see if I could do a TV type thing, and James Peterson, Skip Smith, and Juicy J, they kind of started a game day show, and Professor Gamble, we tossed an idea around and kind of took off, and here we are 3 years later, and I mean, it's been a cool experience. And then the Bison Roundup show was kind of my own little creation. I just thought it would be nice to have a show where athletes could go on and get interviewed for their performance that week and kind of have their time to be kind of glorified, since D3 athletes don't really get their as much publicity as everybody else.
The prior experience that I had before BCTV was I did video editing and camera work in high school. I was 11th in the nation in digital media production. I was 3rd in the state, and I was 1st in obviously Northeast Ohio. So other than that, I mean, I came here and learned a lot.
I did some TV classes in high school and did a morning show type thing for high school, but other than that, I really did not do anything else really with television until I really came here and Sprouse took me in and showed me everything about BCTV.
Actually, not really. I just kind of jumped into it this year, and I mean, I absolutely love it. I did some radio stuff last year, if that's what you want to consider some prior experience. I had a radio show, I was a sports director there, and I absolutely loved it, and I figured I would just love TV 10 times more, and it turns out I do. So I'm happy that the path I chose.
In high school, my high school had a small TV production department. We did like morning news, and we covered like certain events on campus, like pep rallies and some football games, but it wasn't as in-depth as this program is at BCTV.
Yes and no. I say no because I've never really called it in high school or anything. But I say yes because in between my junior and senior year, or sophomore and junior year of high school, I forget which one it was, of the summer, I went to Waynesburg University and I attended a camp that was actually hosted by former play-by-play announcer of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Lanny Fratteri. He's a professor down there now. And they had us go through some stuff, and I had an idea what to do. We had advice. I'd kind of taken some class, because he kind of had a class-based few things through a 5-day camp from a professional. He called it the professional level. He called, Major League Baseball games. He's called no-hitters. He's seen it all in baseball. I mean, he was back with the Pirates before they had the long 20-season terrible route, before they've ended it a couple years, 3 years ago now.
When it comes to setting up beforehand, it usually takes us about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what troubles we have. Sometimes we have audio problems where the announcers, we can't hear them, so we have to switch up the mics or the different cords that we have to put together. And also at the same time, some of our cameras, the glare is bad, or we have green on our screen or something, so we have to figure stuff out. And every time we set up, we always have some kind of problem, and we're just accustomed to it now.
It can vary with different like interviews. It could take 20 minutes, but if it has like we're filming a volleyball game, a football game, it can be 3 hours. We try to do as much stuff with cords and setting up and making sure everything's in its place, and the audio and our announcers, so it takes a while for us to actually get everything perfect.
How long does it take to set up? Well, if the game's at like 1:30, we're usually here by 10, and if things go smoothly, honestly, it only takes like an hour, but that's so rare. So between all the malfunction, it probably takes like 2.5 hours to get everything like absolutely perfectly set up.
The setup at BCTV, it usually takes, we come 3 hours early, but the actual setup is, for camera 3 is usually about 45 minutes at the most, because you have to stretch your cable, the length of the field, and make sure you're going to be able to maneuver around things that are on the field and the setup that they have. You have to make sure you're connected to the truck and have a picture and have audio coming from your camera and things like that. And once you get that done, you might run into other areas with the camera, so you want to like check your batteries for your camera and make sure all the wires are set up properly, you can hear everyone, and just make sure you're ready as a person to focus to get your mind right.
As long as it takes to set up, for the entire crew, On a good day, it could take it half an hour to 45 minutes because you have all the things you gotta get done and make sure everything's done correctly, because you even gotta factor in the small thing. Mainly if you're over at Bison Stadium to a football game, well, you got camera 3 going out to the field. You gotta make sure you have that wire right across the walkway covered up, because if not, you don't want fans, a coach, or anyone coming through tripping over that, because that's all kinds of a whole different ball game.
Some of the most common problems that we run into for BCTV is usually audio. Mr. Dumas always reiterates that video is not usually the problem, but audio is usually the problem.
Equipment is something that it can either, work, or it can just say, nope, not today.
Probably wires. Wires are like one of the biggest issues, especially working behind the camera. One game before, they'll have to cut something, and then we'll have to have Professor Sprouse drive back to the TV station, or Mr. Dumas, and fix all the wires and get everything situated and make sure all the plugs are in.
The wires are a big problem with camera 3. It's just because there's so much going on the sideline. There's players, there's benchers, there's cheerleaders, and then you're trying to get that perfect shot that the director wants you to get, but sometimes your wires don't want to cooperate with you. So it's just I gotta get those in the right place so I can get that shot.
Most common problems I'll run into, first I'll just touch on camera. Sometimes you might plug in something wrong, sometimes a wire somehow gets damaged, goes short. Sometimes it's just you don't have enough wire fed to you, battery dies, power box isn't working, audio isn't working.
Down into the IFB cable that goes to the truck. So we only need 3 XLR cables, and we need 1 BNC cable to go from the monitor here with a barrel on this end to connect upstairs into the back of the monitor. Yes, make sure, I don't want all that crap. Nicely wound, turn that cable. How is that possible? What did I miss on homecoming when I wasn't here?
I don't know, I didn't even know it was wired. I'm guessing when it was rewired.
I think that's what it is.
All right, that's IFB, go ahead.
I could not do my job without it's hard to choose one, because each part that goes into my job, I wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for everyone else. So when it comes to camera people and the audio and the graphic people, I can't really choose one to be specific.
Who could I not do my job without? I could not do this without Tyler Castle. He has helped me so much with technical directing and learning everything in the truck, outside the truck. He's helped me a lot just getting into more of the behind the scenes stuff on BCTV. I also, again, wouldn't have been involved with this without Professor Sprouse. He, brought me in and showed me everything, and I haven't left since, so.
Who can I not do my job without? Professor Sprouse is definitely one of the biggest influences I've had. If it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't have got so involved in TV. And Katie Vallone, I'm always with her no matter what on TV. And since we have the same major, we're always talking about TV and different things we can do for the TV network. So those two are a really big role play in my life, definitely with the TV station.
Who could I not do my job without is the grip. The grip, like I just said, they help out with the wires, they help me get my shots, and if I didn't have the grip, it'll be such a problem because it's so much wires that the length of the wires, they help me make sure I can have slack and not people to trip on the wires.
Who I couldn't do my job without, on play-by-play easily, for one. For play-by-play, for one, you would sing, I would say your color commentator, because it's very hard not to have someone with you just talking if you're talking to yourself for 3 hours, you kind of start to feel, you're talking to yourself for 3 hours, what else are you gonna do? There's so much you can do and give yourself breaks. But honestly, I think for anyone gets asked this kind of a question on a TV crew, it's easily director.
Who could I not do my job without? Well, back in the day, last year, it was Bobby Bush. I mean, Bobby Bush and I kind of did everything together. And then this year, without AJ and Lexi on game day, and then AJ on Bison Roundup, there really wouldn't be a show. So, without them, just talent-wise, what they bring to the table, it's a great counter. It's great to have somebody on there that can intellectually go back and forth with you about the topic that you're talking about. Behind the scenes, without Raph and Dion and Big Rich and Lamont and all those guys that show up for the shows and do the behind the scenes work, like Dion does the time and Raph normally does sound for the Bison Roundups. I mean, you got Sprouse that does all the stuff that Sprouse does. Who knows all those things? I don't know, the list would be. But you even have like Taylor Furco and Amber Angelo and some other people that take pictures behind the scenes and stuff. So I mean, it's really here at BCTV, it's really a team effort.
I think that digital media students and sports comm students should have knowledge when it comes to video editing, because it's a broad job. It's not just one person doing everything now. It's everyone does everything. So if you don't know how to video edit, you're not going to get a job in TV or anything else.
Also, one thing that I think would be great for us to do is add more programs for the shows on BCTV. We already have our Halloween show and our Christmas shows. Hopefully soon we will have our movie review show that I will be hosting on BCTV, and that's some stuff that we're working on to put more onto BCTV.
I think the program's doing really well where it's at right now, and there's not too many altercations that need to be made because they are doing such a great job and they're handling all of us very well and all the sources that they have very well.
I really wouldn't change anything so far. I mean, I'm enjoying what I'm doing so far. I mean, yeah, we run into problems, but in the real world, you're gonna have problems too. So I feel like it's just helping me. So there's really not much we can change, but I like this. It's a nice BCTV family, and I wish it could keep going on.
You need to just be ready for the unexpected. Always, I would say, suspect the worst. Now, I understand you can't control that, but if you at least be like, okay, this may happen, what's plan B? Have a plan B. Sometimes we don't have a plan B, I would say, and plan B has to be put into place, and we're like, uh-oh.
How would I describe BCTV? I kind of think of it as like my baby almost.
We all get along, we never really have disagreements. Yes, like we have issues, sometimes things come up, but we do work well as a team.
I know that I need to be on my A game to make sure that everything's right.
We work together, and yes, sometimes we might disagree with each other, but we get through it and we get a product on the air and it looks like nothing ever happened.
I describe it as like a close-knit family by the end of it because we're with each other all the time. Everyone's joking around with each other, everyone's really close. You get closer to people that you didn't really know. I love working for BCTV. I think it's so much fun. I love everyone there, like I said, and I just think it's such a great learning experience to work there because they're really prepping us like for after college, and like that's what they need to be doing.
Mass chaos.
I would describe it more as a home to me. It's another place where I can go with my, my friends. All, my comm friends are on BCTV, so we all do stuff together. We all know what's going on, and it's just another place to go and know that it's fun and you're gonna have a great time doing whatever.
Mass chaos.
I would describe BCTV as a family, a group who's always together, and we try to get things done properly,
Family, good group of people, but at the end of the day, mass chaos.
So how does everybody feel like Sprouse has been doing today?
Honestly, I feel like Sprouse has done a stellar job today. I feel like he really put it all out on the line. He pours his sweat, tears, and blood into this, and I think he's the right man for the job. What about you, Lexi?
Well said, sir, well said. He is the man for the job, and I don't think he gets paid enough. Count it.
I think Eric Sprouse is one of the best things that's ever happened to the Bethany College Comm Department, and I think I'll leave my statement at that.
Bravo. You're welcome.
We love you, Sprouse.
Because I'm standing right here?
100%. No, because I don't.
Let's see what everybody says when I take a walk, guys.
And that's the big thing with BCTV and the entire communications department, but mainly just BCTV. Everyone's willing to help each other, and it's like a family environment, and it makes everything we do here flow, and it makes it, it can be stressful at times. That's just a part of the world, and that's a part of life, and that's a part of how businesses work. BCTV is a business learning, I would say, because we're college students. It's a family just because we all teach each other and we work well together, and we're not scared to fail. And if we do fail, we figure how to get that F to a passing grade.
All the preparation that goes into making that bouquet of magic is what takes the time. And that's what Bethany College is excellent in teaching, that you have to prep. And that's the part that everybody will sit at home and they'll watch something unfold on TV and they'll say to themselves, well, now that I've sat at home and I've watched this on TV, I understand television. And you couldn't be farther from the truth, because that means if I go to the zoo, well, now I'm a koala bear. And it just doesn't work like that. That's why they have 4 years to get a degree in television production, a good one, because you have to assemble the knowledge, the know-how, a resume, a video portfolio that says what you're doing. And BCTV's perfect for that.
All right, anything else, guys? All right, we're out of here. Nice job. Head home. See you next week. Ready? Okay, guys, I found a stink bug. Yo, bloopers. Bloopers. Yo, you got that, right?
I'm glad you guys were able to watch this. We're really glad we had an audience for us tonight. And now I'm giving it to you guys. Do any of you have any questions for us for Blue Line Productions? Carl.
So, who was the most difficult person to work with?
They voted for, wait, who do you mean by who?
Like, of the people that you interviewed in your documentary, who was the most difficult to work with?
Like the person to actually interview? Okay. It was you.
I know, I was genuinely asking. I mean, there was a lot, you had a lot. There shouldn't be anybody more difficult than me.
I mean, yeah, all of his answers were at least 6 minutes long.
Rich knows. They came and asked me a bunch of questions in my room, which was probably not the best idea.
Well, it wasn't our idea.
And yeah, I believe I demanded that you guys came over.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to know, like, Eric, Dakota looked like he was having a good time. I wonder if he was a little prima donna.
I mean, the interview process I thought for everyone went pretty smoothly. That's why I didn't name someone specifically just for interviews. But yeah, it was a smooth process. It was just a matter of taking the time to find everybody's schedule and just make it work with ours to get everybody else done. So yeah. Anything else?
During the semester, you had a plan to shoot on certain days. And then problems arose.
A lot.
And several of those days where you had to shoot had to not necessarily be canceled, but you had to cancel your shooting for those days. How did that affect and how did you recover from a lack of stock footage?
Okay. If any of you guys want to chime in too. So I kind of already talked about this a little bit. Being in BCTV already, I was able to sit down and talk to all you guys for when you were scheduling your events. But yeah, like you said, it was 2 complete football games that we were planning on shooting for were totally canceled. To make up for that, we got more stock footage through one of the volleyball games to make up for more stock footage that we needed, or we simply just planned for an even later football game to start to get footage. Does anybody else have anything else to add? Yeah, that's about it. Was there anything else? Oh.
Can I ask why you chose BCTV Sports to do your particular production on?
If we had more time in the world, I would have wanted to do this documentary on BCTV as a whole. But for all of the games that we were able to be present at and to actually get footage of, it mostly was just for sporting events. So when it came down to it, all the stuff that we had was meant for sports. So it made sense just to name the title Behind the Scenes of BCTV Sports.
One last question. I noticed you have a lot of stock footage. Can Spencer, can you talk about the editing that you had to keep everything straight? Like, how did you had so much footage. How did you keep things straight about who was interviewed when?
We must have at least had 2 hours of stock footage, but we had to sort it out.
Well, I know you were always there at the station watching all the problems we were having.
Because I came in with one, and I'll probably use it at the end of this. I have a photo of you like this.
Yeah, you saw me sleeping.
Sleeping because you were so late editing. I don't even know what time it was, but you were like editing overnight kind of stuff. And it got to be round the clock getting this production done. Can you talk about like how difficult it was to edit all this stuff together?
Well, the first thing is the software was it always gave us so many problems. Like one time it like completely shut off 6 times, but luckily I saved it as I was going. So luckily I still had all the footage I was working on. And I mean, Kelly helped me, like he didn't want me to do it the whole time. He came in and out and helped me with it, and I took a break, and then he took a break, and we worked on it till like 4 in the morning and stuff like that.
Last day, we were up at the station until 4:30.
Like tag team editing?
Yeah, exactly. That's how we did it.
Okay.
All right. Is that
Anybody else?
All right, and before, I'd like to make a recognition. I would like to thank Bailey Starr for helping everything out that was going on at BCTV. It's just unfortunate that all the days that we were in fact shooting, you were either just not there next to the... And Bree as well. These people, they're great. They did a lot of good work. It's just they weren't there when we were shooting. And I wanted to resolve that right away.
Okay, any other questions?
Any more questions?
All right, ladies.
All right, thank
you. Okay, and for the last film of the night, it's going to be the Bethany Memorial Church. It's a documentary focusing on the history and the 100th anniversary of the church. This is by the production team, Redline Productions. They're going to come up here right now, tell you a little bit about their film, present it to you, and then we'll vote on the best movie.
Thank you. All right, so I'm on Darian Stock. Darian's the producer of our production, so he handled the paperwork, and he did a great job of it. So let him.
Went too hard.
We'll let him start it.
First, I got the people I was going to interview, Reverend Thayer. He helped us out in basically like introducing who we could interview as well, and we got the paperwork signed from them, and our director handled mostly everything else. I did like the scheduling.
Closer to the mic, gents.
Yes. You can take the podium. I'll stand on the side until you're done.
I did the scheduling and help this production to where it's at right now.
So aside from Darian did a great job. We all three saw a great opportunity here. We got lucky. That was the 100th year anniversary of the Bethany Church, a staple of this town and this college for so many years. And it worked out well for us. When we originally started doing this project, we came into class, and Professor Sprouse said that we should do documentaries this year, and Bethany Church was one of the best ones we should do. And Darian, myself, and Cody Levine, who couldn't be here today, decided to jump on the opportunity. We got really lucky because they had the organization of the Bethany Church, they handled an amazing 100th year celebration, which we were all there for, to organize and do some interview shoots. And we got lucky. We got great footage. Darian and I filmed some B-roll. We filmed a lot of great interviews. And Cody was able to chop it up, put it into a great film, and I hope you all enjoy it. Darian, do you have anything else to say?
No, let's just watch the film, man.
Yeah, so I hope you all enjoy it. This is our film, produced by Darian Brewster, directed by myself, and edited by Cody Levine. This is Bethany Church, or the Bethany Memorial Church, 100 years.
The church was actually here about the same time as the college was started. As you may know, Bethany College started out as Buffalo Seminary. Buffalo Seminary was a school that was located in Campbell's own home. And young men, it was just men in those days who were entering ministry, they came to Campbell's home and actually stayed there and taught and were taught different subjects that you need to go into ministry, like Bible studies, Christian education, church history, and in those days, Latin, Greek, and rhetoric. All those things were taught there. That was, it didn't last too long. I'm not sure exactly how long Buffalo Seminary lasted, but it's now found a rebirth here under Dr. Larry Grimes, who is the dean of Buffalo Seminary, and that is an organization that seeks to bring in ministers from all over the area to Bethany to learn about different things that will help their work in the church. So from the beginning, the church has had a really strong connection with the college. There was a time when it was practically required for new faculty members that they were expected to attend Bethany Memorial Church. Of course, those days are long gone, and there have been a series of presidents for the college who have not had that vision of the connection between the college and this local church, and between the college and the denomination. So we've lost out on some of that in recent years. We're trying to get that back, though, by doing various things with the college. For example, we partner with the Greek fraternities and sororities in their food drive that they have annually, sometimes more than once a year. And we get most of those canned goods, and we see that they're distributed here locally in Brooke County. Recently, we've hosted a number of different activities that would draw and be attractive to students, faculty, and staff. We have, about twice a year, we have a wine and cheese reception for all our faculty and staff. This is the home of Alexander Campbell, who was the founder of the denomination that we belong to, called the Christian Church Disciples of Christ. His home is down the road here at the mansion, we call it, and he also founded the college, Bethany College, in 1840. This was his church. He never came into this building, but he was instrumental in founding the church way back in the early 1800s. We have a very long history, and so from coast to coast and around the world. But as I said, church is like the flagship, the mother place church for the whole denomination. The body of people that Alexander Campbell drew together. Very interesting place. This is the 5th location where they have worshipped. So it's a really important milestone for us because we count it as a privilege to be a part of the movement called the Christian Church Disciples of Christ. And part of that is the stewardship of this building for the whole denomination because it's a historic place. There's a lot of very rare papers here, incredible stained glass windows that commemorate different people who have been important for the church and for the college too.
I have lived in Bethany all my life, with the exception of 2 years when my husband was in the military and stationed in Germany. The church has always been a part of my life. From the time I was small, I came with my parents, and my mother worked in the church. My father was a deacon and the church treasurer for many years, and I was in Sunday school and in youth groups and just anything that was going on. I felt as at home at the church as I did at home. It was just a very big part of my life. Bethany Church has always been the center of the community, basically a community center. It's always been open for people to use whenever they need to. Organizations meet here free of charge. Now we have a couple of other options in town, so the church isn't used as much now as it has been through the years, but I would say it's been basically a community center. For years and years, when Bethany was a younger community, we had the house was full on Christmas Eve. We had candlelight service, and all the children who grew up here came back to visit their parents, and the pews were all full, and it was a wonderful chance to get to see everybody and to celebrate the birth of Christ. Now Bethany is an older community. There aren't too many children here, and so the Christmas Eve service is still very nice, just not as many people here as I can remember throughout the years. Pentecost has always been a special time where we utilize the old meeting house, which was the building down the street that Alexander Campbell preached in. And we invite surrounding churches to come join us, and we have a service there, and then we migrate down to the park or to this building for a picnic afterwards, so it's always a really nice activity. We also try to do something special in September when everyone comes back, students and faculty, and that's just the time that people move into Bethany. and so we like to do that. We began 1 year ago. We had a lovely lady in our community by the name of Margaret Connor, who passed away a couple of years ago, but she would have been 100 last November, or I believe maybe it was last October. And so her daughter wanted to celebrate that day, and we decided that would be a wonderful day to begin our 100 years. That was when the groundbreaking took place for this building. So we had a big party for the church and for Margaret, and a former pastor, Sarah Webb, came back and preached that day. And throughout the year, our minister has invited all the former pastors that are able to come back and preach. And so throughout the year, we have done that. Pentecost, we had Dan Harry was back. And then today is, this week would have been the dedication of this building 100 years ago. And so today we're having Bill Allen, who was a minister here for more than 10 years. And a very special person who's served now in the region and done lots of good things. So he's preaching today, so it's great to have him back.
I'm Larry Grimes. I'm moderator of the Board of Ministry at Bethany Memorial Church, and I first began attending Bethany Memorial Church in 1960 when I came here as a student. So I guess that logs in 50 years or so. I was away for 6 years at graduate school and returned to Bethany in 1970. And it's been my home church ever since, although I am an ordained minister in the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, and sometimes I've been on loan to other churches, so I've been in and out over those years. But it's a very significant part of my life. Bill Allen this morning was talking about the special places, and I was thinking, it's that front step before the altar. That's where my wife and I knelt to receive communion when we were married here 50 years ago, come next June. So this church is a deep part of our life. My daughter was baptized into this church, grew up in this church. So for many of us here, the church has been where we have rejoiced and sung great praises, and where we've gathered for grief, for funerals, for celebration of that movement of our dear friends into God's other kingdom. It's been a busy church over the years. I noted this morning that we have gathered at that communion table up there in this 100 years 36,500 times at least. And Bill Allen noted this morning that just down at the old meeting house alone, there were 800 people ordained into ministry. So the heritage of this church is long and old, as I said this morning in remarks. The congregation itself is 214 years old. Alexander Campbell, who founded Bethany College, also founded this church. Originally, it was a little church on a hill in Pennsylvania. It was built just like the old barns of the time, with a couple of windows put in it. And the congregation called Brush Run Church started there. They've left there in 1823 and moved down to Wellsburg for a while. And then Bethany became big enough that it needed its own church. And so Campbell gave the grounds down at the corner of Church Street and Main Street for the building of a first meeting house in Bethany. And they outgrew that and built the second meeting house that's still there. And they outgrew that. So in 1914, 50 years ago, they broke ground here for this church, which opened to itself in 1915. And has been the center of many things in this community ever since. I mean, there was a period of time back in the 80s when we redid all of Old Main. So commencements were down here. All kinds of convocations were here. It's a meeting place for college and community together. It has been a place that sponsored mission trips to Central America. It's opened its doors, and It's pocketbooks for hurricane relief in the valley when Ivan came through and washed away everything, including Bethany's closest bar at that time. It's a fundamental part of how life goes on in Bethany. There have been times when more students have been interested in church than they are today, but generations change their minds and come and go. And I hope that the connection between students and church grows, and as we move into our next century. We'll probably have to change some for that, because generations have changed.
Darian produced the film. I was lucky enough to direct the film, and Cody Levine, who I said could not be here today, edited it. So we'd like to give a special thanks to Reverend Thayer, who is with us tonight. Not only was he one of our key interviewees, but he also gave us the permission to use the church to film most of the shots you saw. And it would not have happened without him, and with the whole entire Bethany College as a whole, who they find themselves so involved with this church, and we cannot thank everyone enough. I mean, I feel privileged, and I know Darian does as well, to be able to just find ourselves connected with 100 years of community. I mean, 175 years of church, or this college has been around. And the church has been around longer than that, but in this individual spot, 100 years, and it's incredible. So, Darren, do you have anything else to say?
I just want to say, like, a lot of people not involved with church today, as people may know. But so we just thought we should bring church to everyone else and have it on film, because it could be a record, you know. So everybody needs Jesus. Do you have any questions?
I'll start the ball.
Yeah.
I know doing 100 years worth of history is difficult enough. Can you talk a little bit about, I'm going to get a little more technical, and somebody else can take the ball on 100 years of history, maybe Reverend Thayer would like to take that a little bit. My question is, can you talk a little bit about the difficulties you had, and every film tonight has had issues, and that's the whole point of college, you learn these. Can you talk a little bit about the luggage incident?
I'm sorry.
The luggage incident where I guess the movie was lost in the luggage and was trying.
Yeah. So our editor, Cody Levine, who I said could not be here tonight, he edited the film over spring break, and I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself. I'm like our hostess tonight, Bree and I we got comps and we're good, and we have spring break and we're done. I'm ahead of myself. No, but Thanksgiving break, he went down to Florida. He has family down in Florida, and he edited the film on the plane. And unfortunately, people have flown before know sometimes you get a little lost, and you'll get on a plane and your bags won't get on it with you. And he had that situation happen to him.
Right.
So he got on the plane, and his carry-on came on the plane, and his clothes and his other bags came on a different plane a day later.
In Texas.
2 days later. In Texas. Yeah, they went all the way to Texas. And it's one of those things that's just, everyone deals with problems. It's just an incredibly unfortunate one. I mean, it got done, we got it here, but it's stressful for us. It was stressful for him, because one thing is just kind of out of your control.
Yeah.
And you can't really handle it. You can't really deal with it. You just got to wait for it and pray for the best.
And it's 4th grade, so
yeah.
That was the real pressure of having it approved that it was all right, that it was.
Especially with the two of us, who Darian and I both got the project was split into 3 parts, where the producer handled the pre-production setting, the director handled the actual shooting, and the editor handled the final half of it. Cody handled the final half of it, and it got unlucky for him. It got unfortunate, and the two of us felt nervous, but in the end, everything showed up, and we were able to show you this film tonight.
One more questions.
Yeah.
Can you tell what was the best part, like best information that you learned from making this documentary that you didn't know?
I would have to say, like, knowing when it started as soon as the college basically started, like when it was founded. That was pretty interesting to know that it's been around that long. And 100 years itself is impressive to me. Yeah. So, like, to see it grow in such a small area, it's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, we've all walked past the CAF. We see now the same building that's been there for 100 years is now getting a new roof. It's great. It's great to see this building, this Institute of Bethany, West Virginia, being able to continue to thrive. I mean, we've seen all these great things in its history, and I think there's great things to still come from the Bethany Memorial Church. And I feel like 100 years is not even the halfway point for this building and this congregation that's done so much, not only for Bethany, West Virginia, but for Bethany College. And I'm excited. Whenever I come back as an alumnus in a couple of years, I'm excited to see not only where the college has gone, but where the church has gone as well.
One more?
Anyone else?
Why did you pick Mrs. Chambers?
That's the lady Reverend Thayer suggested I interview. So I figure if she's been around the church, why not? She knows about the church. So.
Yeah, when you think about staples of Bethany, West Virginia, you got the Chambers General Store right there. Right. I mean, you got your daily $1 sandwich, your breakfast sandwiches, the special of the day, and I got one today. They ran out of sandwich. I got a pulled pork sandwich and a wrap, and it was delicious. If anyone else was with that, yeah?
Yeah.
It was great. It was great. I mean, there's no one better. There's very, very few people better to interview in the Bethany community than the Chambers family and Mrs. Chambers herself. So, I mean, we were blessed to have her help us out. Carlo again. Oh yeah. Anyone else got another question before we leave you guys off?
I want to thank you guys for doing this. That was really a cool thing to do, and I hope we can use this in our congregation. I think it would be a real shot in the arm emotionally for them.
Yeah, I mean, we're just thankful you let us do this, and it was a great opportunity for us. We learned a lot, and
The big question of the hour is, ready for this?
Yeah.
Why red lime?
Oh well, actually, is Kelly still even in here? There he is. Well, Kelly decided to come up with blue line.
Blue line.
And we couldn't come up with a production name. We were, why not red lime? Red lime. And Darian came up with it himself, and we just kind of went off it. A play off of theirs.
Yeah,
so call us a brother company, call us a father company, whatever they want to call us over there. But he definitely was influential in it. So red lime came from that.
Yeah.
Anyone else? No? Thank you guys. Thank you everyone.
The question of the hour is, though, Ian, are you going to do a sequel, and is it going to be about Chambers?
You have another class coming in the spring, don't you?
Yeah. Well, you're going to do Chambers. It'll be the sequel, the follow-up.
I'm taking your class.
But then you'll have to do a prequel, and you'll get all involved with, timelines.
I can't do it. You'll have a class in the spring. They'll handle Chambers. They'll work out.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've now arrived at the point of the evening that people have been asking me about all day, the awards part for the pictures. So make sure I get this right, because we're going to do something different this year. And instead of giving out awards for Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and so on and so forth, I thought we'd do something a little different. The reason I was doing this is because there's only one picture with actor and actresses nominees, and it would be difficult just to say, and the nominees are Taylor Furco, and the winner is Taylor Furco. So I thought we'd do something different tonight. The Bethany College Bookstore has decided to sponsor tonight's Bison Student Movie Festival. So that being said, instead of trophies this year, they talked about the idea of giving this out as your prizes. Exactly. So I thought that's a great idea. It doesn't always have to be about the statue. Did we name the statue last year the ME? The Emmy? Was it the Emmy?
Yeah, I got the Emmy.
In honor of Professor Gamble? Okay, so we're going to still consider that the award, but of course this year, instead of the statuette, the winners of each production team of the winning film will receive the Bethany College banner. And I thought that was a nice tie-in. Special thanks to the bookstore for sponsoring the show tonight. The Bethany College bookstore. They have all your, Carlo, they have all your student needs. All your student needs. So, here's how it's going to be run. Instead of Professor Sprouse sitting back and deciding who wins and then getting flack for it, tonight, you're going to vote, the people in this room, for best overall picture. And here's how you're going to do that. Here's a phone number. I will repeat it again. Yes. As you can see, most of my night has been spent answering funny texts from people in the room going, ha ha, you left your phone on. And I couldn't take it off because I'm taking pictures of the evening. So, here's what you need to do. You can only vote once. I will know if you voted multiple times. You can vote once. Tell me the name of the movie that you think was the best picture this evening. That way it's an independent and private vote. And of course the nominees are No Longer Leather by Giuliano DeVito, A Day in the Life of Bison Football by Nadim Radar and Gibson Francois, Looks Get in the Way by, oh sorry, I didn't mention the production teams. No Longer Leather was Umbrella Pictures. The Day in the Life was by Big Bang Productions. Looks Get in the Way. That was by MG Squared Productions with Ben Gavlik, Carly Grady, Nick Metz. Then we have Behind the Scenes of BCTV Sports, which was done by Blue Line Productions. And finally, the Bethany Memorial Church documentary on its 100th anniversary. And that was done by Red Lime Productions. So all I really need from you right now is to text me at the following number, and it's pre-recorded at home, folks. You don't have to do it. All right? Which is and shortly my phone will start lighting up like none other. We will take a small commercial break, and after the break, I will tally the votes quickly in the next 5 minutes, and I will tell you who the winner is. So without any further ado, for those of you at home, we'll be right back after this. You're tuned to BCTV, the #1 college television station in the state of West Virginia.
How'd you get him?
Shooting windows out with my BB gun. Next day, these showed up.
I think it's bad karma. You gotta do something good. Help out in the community. Donate to charity.
Yeah.
Stay on the universe's good side. Volunteer, vote, get involved.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Hey, this job looks perfect. It says you need people skills? Check. Driver's license? Check. And a high school diploma. You got one of those, right?
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
I got that. You are good to go.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Kids will spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
We want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and watching all these great movies, and thanks to all the hard work that all these people put in. And without further ado, Katie Vallone will announce the winner.
Can I have a drum roll, please? All right. And the winner is MG Squared. So you guys can come on up and get your flags.
I would like to thank Mr. Strauss and everybody else that came in and did helped with our film, Carly, Ben, and Taylor and Elias, but they're not here.
Yeah, we'd like to thank Sam Gooch too. He let us rent out Renner 2 for our production. And just thanks for Strauss for believing in us, represent. And thanks for all you guys for coming to watch us today. I'm not one for public speaking, so I'll let Ben say something.
All right, I'd really like to thank Nick because it's obvious he carried this production. I don't know where we'd be without him, so I'd just like to thank Nick personally for making this night possible.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
Okay, thank you very much for attending this year's, the second annual Bison Student Movie Festival. I'd like to thank your hosts for the evening, Lexi Naples, Bree Steeg, and Katie Vallone. I'd also like to thank Umbrella Pictures, Big Bang Productions, Red Line, Blue Line, and who am I forgetting? I always forget one. MG Squared, of course, for making this year's film. And thank you, everybody coming out tonight. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad you got to see these pictures. Before anybody leaves, I'd like to get a picture of MG Squared with their flags for the Bethany College Bookstore. They're going to publicize it and hang your mug up inside. I'd also like to get a picture of our hosts and anybody that was here from your production teams. It might be the only time I get to see all of you in the same room. All right? Thank you very much. Drive safely.